Good morning. I am Tori Jameson. I am, again, one of the seminarian interns with Wellspring UCC. We meet up kind of around the corner if you all didn't know. So I am in the ordination process. I'm a candidate, so I'm real early in the process, with the United Church of Christ to be a minister. And I'm at school in Boston. And so looking at opportunities for the summer, applied to a I applied to the same program, a summer communities of service program for young adults. And I don't really speak Spanish. And so there was a lot of question, I guess, to kind of start off talking, like, how did I end up serving in this context? I have a lot of diverse experience, working with a lot of different types of populations, but I had no work experience with immigrants or in advocacy, and I did and do have woodshop skills. I've taught that to middle schoolers, and so I landed here in Centreville. Again, I speak no Spanish, and as I'll tell you, that's the primary language of the center, but our guys and our workers have been just absolutely patient with me. So Centreville Labor Resource Center is kind of up the road. It's over by, like, behind Party USA, kind of in the general area of the Giant, just the next couple lights up. But we're kind of around the back. And so Centreville Labor Resource Center was founded by the Centreville Immigration Forum. Did anybody hear about that? Yeah, a little bit. And the Centreville Immigration Forum was meeting for a couple of years, trying to talk about, that this area is rapidly changing, that we've got a huge number of immigrants, particularly from Korea and some other Asian places, as well as a lot of Central Americans. And so there was a whole discussion about what we can do to be involved with the immigrant population here, and that's how Centreville Labor Resource Center was formed. We have more than 400 people registered as workers with us, and a couple hundred as employers. 80 to 85% of our workers are Guatemalan, and 80% of those are from one area. They are generally native Mayan. They speak there's like it's either 24 or 27 language families of the native peoples, and those 80% generally speak one. It's called a shield, and I won't try to speak it for you. It's rather difficult. We also serve about 10 to 12% Americans who are kind of in between jobs or have some difficulty keeping long-term employment for a variety of other reasons, and then the remaining percentages are a variety of other Central American places and people from Africa and a number of other locations. The Centreville Labor Resource Center is a connection point for looking for temporary work, and so connecting employers, which would be you guys as homeowners, connecting employers to workers. Generally, they come to work in your homes or your yards, doing moving, gardening, light construction, lots of leaf removal in the fall, painting, snow removal, those kind of things. The Center for the Workers helps ensure a fair wage. And so the workers have kind of talked about some wage minimums, but they do negotiate directly with themselves with potential employers, and it ensures fair pay. When you come to the center to employ a worker, you come and fill out a paperwork just so that we know who you are, but it's in a secure database that nobody has access to it, and to find out what the type of work that you need, and then we connect you to a worker. It's incredibly beneficial to you to use the center instead of the corner, because the people that come to the center, we know who they are. When they say, like, we make sure if you need a painter that, like to paint the outside of your house or to do touch-up work, we make sure that this is someone that has in fact done this before, so we know our workers and that kind of thing. So it ensures that you get good workers, it's very important to say we don't receive any public money, absolutely 0 cents. of public money. We are funded through, there's a number of churches that support us, private donations, and some corporation-based grants. So again, absolutely no public money. The type of skills that we, like some of the things that we provide for workers are, we work on pre-ESL. A lot of our guys are non-literate in any language. And so we kind of work toward getting some level of literacy in English or in Spanish to be able, so they can then go to ESL classes that that are offered at a lot of area locations that assume that they have some level, some ability to read, and some ability to sit in a classroom setting. We also have a women's ESL class. We work on skills, like construction skills, those sort of things. We offer some public health. Nurse is coming in lately. It's also, the center is also a safe and cool place to wait for work and to make connections. You get to use the internet if you come into the center. You know, it's you get to kind of hang out, talk to people, make some other informal connections. So it's really beneficial for them. It is a worker center, and the workers advocate for themselves, for what they want, and the decisions of the center are ultimately up to them. So that being said, I actually asked the workers recently. You know, they knew that I was coming to speak, and they wanted to find out what they wanted said to you all. And what they will say is that they come from a place of violence, and they are incredibly glad that even though they face some hardship here, that they are incredibly glad to be here. They will say thank you, and thank you for the opportunities to let them continue to be your neighbors and in this community, work in this community. They will tell you that they are workers. They are all supporting families at home. They take a lot of pride in paying for things, paying for their care, paying for their clothing and their food. They even, I had a guy yesterday who went and got a suitcase because he's sending a good amount of his clothes home to Africa, to Sierra Leone. And they will also tell you that you would really like them if you met them. And it's totally true. They're charming and really nice. So the box project has been my project this summer. Like I said, I taught some construction or some wood shops previously. And so I've been teaching basic, like, we worked on numbers initially because some of our guys had not had any access to any formal education, or and a lot of them very limited. And so we worked on numbers for a while because you've got to be able to recognize numbers to be able to read a ruler. So then we worked on measurement skills and finally worked up to being able to do this, the boxes. And so they've worked on measuring and cutting. These boxes are really cool. They're garden boxes, and we're working toward getting the workers to take ownership of the project, and they've started to teach each other now the skills that I taught earlier this summer. But the boxes are really cool. They are it's cedar, so they're food safe, and so perfectly safe. If you put organic soil in there, they can be organic. It's totally untreated. They'll last you a long time. A lot of the times the ones you get at Home Depot are pine. Those will wrap. These will last you 3 times or more longer than those. These will last you 10, 15 years at least. And this is a 2x2 size. We make them up to 6x3, which I was not going to bring in here, but it's massive. And with the advantage of having the raised bed like this, we level this out in the ground. The stakes, as you can see, we cut and then kind of dig into the ground to help keep the box in place, and we do some other things to help secure it. When you fill it with soil, because it's aerated, because it's raised like this, you're actually able to grow a lot more per foot than you are when it's normally in the ground. And it helps with the drainage and everything else. So it's wonderful for food production. It also looks really pretty if you've got petunias or something too. Not to discount that. The workers make these themselves. And so this, when you contract a job to get them to install this, you'll get 2 workers. They come in and they'll come in and cut it, and then they assemble and install on site. So, and it's pretty cool. We can make them to other specifications, so any kind of size you want, but generally 2x2, 3x3, and then the 6x3. And so that's been my big project this summer.
And we're asking for participation in that. So I wanted to read 2 verses very quickly out of Leviticus that relate to the whole issue of the center and immigration. And they're from the ancient Israel's holiness code. So from Leviticus 19. You shall treat the stranger who resides with you as a native among you, and you shall love him as yourself. For you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. That's great, but how are people called to do that? The answer is in the same chapter. When you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not reap to the very edges of the field or gather the gleanings of your harvest. You shall not strip your vineyard bare or gather the fallen grapes of your vineyard. You shall leave them for the poor and the alien, for I am the Lord your God. Essentially, in this way, marginalized peoples, the poor, and the alien are offered a chance of sharing in the very act of production and not just in the act of consumption. Our center is not about giving services. We're not a center that serves to give them food. We really ask that people don't bring food to the center. A lot of times they don't eat it. Like there's a group that likes to bring bread. Our guys are from Central America. Like they eat tortillas, but even that, they really don't want it. There's no way to bring this home. They won't eat the loaves of bread that are brought. And so it just goes to waste. So it's difficult in that we ask, they don't want the charity because they're workers. What they want, the next steps, they want jobs. They want to be working and they want to be participating in community life, and the way to participate in community life is to be able to participate in community life economically. So they don't want used TVs, they don't want clothes. There are places, I know that this church gives a lot of food to the food bank, and that's wonderful. Our center's kind of serving a little bit different need. So the next steps to help us here, you can do a number of things. You can volunteer if you are skilled in a trade or craft, or want to come in and do some ESL, but we're particularly looking for skilled volunteers in painting and drywall and gardening and electricity, electric setups and things like that, or some other specialized skill. We could probably recruit people if you wanted to come teach them to sew or something like that. We really are looking for people to act as employers. So, it's really simple. Again, you just come in and you fill out a form. It's a form of non-liability, basically saying that you understand that these guys are not insured. So you're not holding us responsible. And you get matched with the worker, and then you take them out and return, and we give you a follow-up call if there's a problem. Most of our guys understand enough English to communicate. If they don't, we check, if you don't speak any Spanish, we'll send you with somebody that can understand. And you can always call us if there's a problem. There's never a problem, but if there is. So you can volunteer, you can act as an employer, or you can get a box or 3. And I have contact information for you. I've got cards that have the information on the center. Our website is Centreville LRC. That's also on the business cards if you'd like to stop me after the service. Thank you all so much for letting Nathan and I participate and letting us talk about the center. And really, we're having an open house next Friday and Saturday, but really you can come in anytime. But if you want to come and talk to us and meet our guys, you really would like them if you met them. Thank you all so very much.